talks, a bit of IFC. Thank you, Daman. Um, and also compliance. Besides this, I've also personally uh, championed InfoSec and BCP projects for my past organizations. So in a way, how different risk disciplines are interconnected, I've had the pleasure and the opportunity to be able to witness it first. Back to you again, Daman. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much and welcome to the show. Before we go deep into the demonstration of the tool, it's good to talk about organizational resilience a little bit. On this screen, I'm attempting to show a journey of transformation, journey of a risk to organizational resilience. You might have seen this earlier in this series as well as in other discussions that I hold. This is very important. And that's why I keep talking about that again and again. I keep displaying this diagram again and again. So starting from the left-hand side with risk management, moving into ERM or enterprise risk management to GRC, governance, risk and compliance, and reaching a stage called business continuity management or BCM. What is important to understand here is that this is not either or. This is and. So the moment I say a risk, ERM, GRC, BCM, some hands may go up, some eyebrows may go up. Daman, we have been doing this for long. A risk management, perhaps 30, 40, 50 years old. In some companies, even BCM may be about 20 years journey. That's good. We must clap for ourselves, but we should not stop. That's the message. And repeatedly, it's not either or. That we have reached a stage of business continuity management and we are certified 20 years of BCM journey. So we give up on GRC, ERM, or risk. All these are required. Without GRC, ERM, and risk, BCM will be weak, will not be good, will not be strong.
Right.
And then in recent years, about 5 years, last 5 years, there has been a lot of discussion about operational resilience. And once again, most of us, including me in the beginning, thought that it was yet another term. Oh my God. Now we start calling BCM operational resilience. Operational resilience is just a new name for BCM, which is not correct. There are differences. Today, I'm not talking about differences, so we'll not go deep, but quickly. In business continuity, our focus used to, is, and must continue internally. What is the impact on my business if any one of my processes goes down? Any one of my processes goes down. What is the impact on my business, on myself? Operational resilience has external focus, customer focus. What is the impact on your customer if your process goes down? So we need to look at from that angle, and there may be some differences. Similarly, in business continuity, we would look at processes, important processes, critical processes, prioritized processes, time-sensitive processes. In operational resilience, we will start looking at important business services or critical business services. So it is the service that needs to be looked at, not at the process, not the process. While the service is maybe supported by multiple processes. And once again, between BCM and operational resilience is not either or. operational resilience is important, but will be incomplete without business continuity management. And Daman, we have already conducted our BIA, we already have our BC plans. Those were for processes. Now we change our focus. We start looking from external side. Then we need to have business plans for our, or business continuity plans for our important business services. There will be links. Yes, there is possible because service is supported by the process. There is no doubt about it. So I want to talk a little about this. Once again, not either or, both are required. BCM is one of the most important pillars for operational resilience. A lot of noise about operational resilience has been made in last few years, especially in the financial sector, especially because of Bank of England making it a mandate. Similarly, at least 10 other countries have similar mandates. I would like to say, even if you do not have a regulator, or even if the regulator has not mandated it yet for your industry sector, operational resilience is the need of the hour, according to me. We must work upon that, because without that, we will not be able to reach the next step, which is operational excellence. So we achieve excellence in our operations through operational resilience, which is achieved through business continuity management, GRC, ERM, and risk management. There can be multiple definitions of these. What is excellence? And I'm saying once we have achieved excellence, then the next step or the ultimate step is organizational resilience. Organizational resilience is huge scope. So it's good to plan it. It's good to move in this direction from left to right in a structured, in a planned way. It could be a 3 to 5 years plan. So it's a journey of transformation, I'm repeating. We'll spend a lot of time, a lot more time on organizational resilience because that's the topic for today. But no one most likely will start from zero. I believe this. But at the same time, no one will ever be 100% on organizational resilience because no one is perfect. There is always improvement possible. And by the way, once again, starting from left-hand side, all of these, whether we call these domains or disciplines or management systems, talk about continual improvement. So continual improvement continues in organizational resilience also. So quick look at the definition and what is organizational resilience, and very simple definition available. The source is the standard ISO 22316, which is for organizational resilience. And it says, organizational resilience is the ability of an organization to absorb and adapt in a changing environment to enable it to deliver its objectives and to survive and prosper. So what is important is to look at the objectives, business objectives, and also the last two words, survive and prosper. So a lot of similarity with business continuity management, but at the same time, we see a difference. In business continuity, we would say the basic minimum to be done, whether it is product or service. Pre-identified processes to pre-agreed levels in pre-agreed timeframes would be the focus of BCM. We are attempting to do the basic minimum for our customers. Organizational resilience expects not only surviving, but also thriving, to prosper, somehow to be better than what we were before the disaster. And that's difficult. This for sure, it's very difficult. That's why I keep saying that it'll need a lot of time and effort. Directly, indirectly, effort can be converted into money also. It will need investment, a focused approach. The standard also says more resilient organizations can anticipate and respond to threats and opportunities arising from sudden or gradual changes in their internal and external context. So there is an admittance that our business space is changing constantly. We all know there has been that phrase saying that the only constant in the world, in life, is the change. There is also an expectation of anticipation, which means being proactive rather than reactive to the extent possible. This also has an expectation of opportunities. It says threats and opportunities from risk, from crisis, from disasters, from interruptions. We look to opportunities. And in our last session, we had spent a lot of time around that, how we can look at opportunities from risk and crises. We discussed some live examples also. We also see towards the end of the statement, internal and external context. Having gone across companies, countries, and industry sectors in different roles, especially as an auditor, my observation is that almost all organizations are weak at this front in defining their context. I will recommend a lot of time to be spent on this. Whichever management system, by the way, this is not business continuity or this is not organizational resilience. On day, even if that day one was 30 years ago for us, we should have first defined the context of our organization, and then it needs to be maintained. It needs to be kept up to date because it keeps changing. Most likely, almost all organizations, the context would change. So it is a live document also. The moment I say we need to have internal, external context, I mean to say the documented one. I don't want to hear a story from here. As an auditor, I would like to see it on paper. The moment I say documented, I mean to say written by someone, reviewed by someone, and approved by someone, at least these 3 steps. But the documented information is a little more or a lot more. Even if context has been written, reviewed, approved, then what? It's on document, Daman. But keeping it in storage doesn't help. It needs to be published, known to the people, at least the relevant interested parties. Then what? The moment we have published it, it needs to be used. And we don't use. Even in our BCM journey, when I'm saying there has been gap, because this document doesn't exist very well. But we have been continuing with our internal audits, external audits, certification audits or assessments, etc. There's a huge opportunity for improvement here for almost all organizations that have been around. This diagram is important, and this is coming from or is based on ISO 22316, the standard for organizational resilience. The current version is 2017. This is a guidance document or guideline document. It's not a certifiable standard, ISO 22316. And I said it's a long journey. Could be 3 to 5 years, even longer journey. But that means after that 3, 5, or 10 years, the job is not yet over. It is not never over. It will never be over. It continues forever. It's a long journey of transformation. I wouldn't mind if This program is run as a change program or a transformation program in an organization. Or perhaps we can say it needs to be run that way. When I said huge scope, that scope is now visible in front of us. We see 20 boxes. These perhaps are the 20 units and departments of the organization. This is an organization in front of us. So everyone needs to work towards organizational resilience. Some of these are quite obvious. Some of these may not be so obvious. So if you start looking from the top left, asset management may not be so obvious when we talk of resilience, organizational resilience, but BCM is obvious. And this once again proves BCM is part of organizational resilience. We will achieve organizational resilience through BCM. Without BCM, it will be incomplete or weak. Crisis management, obvious. Cybersecurity, obvious. Communications management, emergency management, environmental management. We keep seeing that some of these may be few other standards or management systems. For BCM, we know it is ISO 22301 and the system is called BCMS. For environmental management, we call it environmental management system and the standard is ISO 14001. Moving on, facilities management, financial control, and fraud control. Someone could say these are similar, same in my company, which is fine. But both needs to be looked at. Governance, it could be that GRC portion that we talked about. Health and safety management, EHS. In short, human resources, which sometimes in some companies is known as human capital. Information security management system, and the standard is ISO 27001. ICT management, physical security. Once again, physical security may not be so obvious in last 5 years, last 10 years, including the operational resilience angle, has been putting a lot of importance, focus on cyber security and information security. Cyber attacks of different types, out of which most happening or most happened perhaps has been a ransomware attack. I say there is no information security and or cyber security without physical security first. This has to be the security of the person, people, as well as the security of the assets, which are when we say information assets or digital assets when we start talking about cyber security. Quality management may not be so obvious, but then we know that almost all management systems directly or indirectly talk about quality management and needs to be taken through the quality team. Risk management, the standard is ISO 31000. We may not find a risk management system term so common, but it is required, it is important if we start talking and we develop a management system around risk management also. Supply chain management and strategic planning management, that is the end. And some hands may go up. Daman, I see something missing here. Please add, I wouldn't mind. This is what the basic minimum, the standard is saying currently. In the next version, even standard may change, improve, add. But please add anything that you see, feel is missing here, and then start working upon that. I myself will tell you what is I also feel, think, believe needs to be added here immediately according to me and with very high priority also. I named few standards while I was talking on this slide. The focus or the scope of organizational resilience. Some of those standards are certifiable standards and some of those are not certifiable standards. Those are the guidance documents. For example, ISO 22301 for BCM is certifiable. ISO 27001 for information security is certifiable. But ISO 31000 for risk management is not certifiable, and ISO 22316 for organizational resilience is not certifiable. A very important point is today I am talking this based on organizational resilience or for organizational resilience, but this is true about any other program also. Selling it internally is difficult, is a challenge. Selling externally also is a challenge. But first we'll talk about internally. You work on organizational resilience, you see the value, but the rest of the organization, I do not see value in organizational resilience. So how will you show me the value? Without representing this company called Kenja in Japan, I'm taking an example from just for understanding the concept. Are you able to see my Explorer, Internet Explorer?
Yes.
Great. So this is Kenja. Many companies would have defined their vision, mission, values, objectives, purpose in different ways. Every company may not have all of these. And I'll define that statement. Every company may not have published these openly, but every company must have these, needs to have these available internally at least. And these are for internal use, not for external use. This is a big challenge. This is a big improvement required in almost all companies, that we select our vision, mission, values, and publish on the website, and then we forget. The people internally do not understand, and that's what the challenge I'm taking, attempting to resolve with this example for organizational resilience. This company may not have vision, mission, values, but what they have written is our mission, a little more. I would like to draw your attention to the bottom, please. At Kenja, we seek to challenge industry norms and stand out with unique innovations that are consistently relevant to our clients' needs. This is what they are saying. And this is a big, bold statement here. We are innovators. Whether they say this is vision, mission, value, goal, objective, not so important. But they have said this is what is important. They live and die for this, according to me, my understanding and my explanation, my interpretation. We are innovators. So why organizational resilience is important for them? What should they be doing based on this? This is their self-commitment. I'm repeating, it's published to the whole world, but it's not for the whole world. It is for themselves. So I'll come back to my slides. And once again, I hope you can see my slide. Great. We just picked up innovation. So this is my interpretation once again, and I do not represent them. To them, innovation is the keyword and activity. They will not be resilient if they fail to innovate. So in that 20 boxes, if you would say, Daman, we need to add innovation into that, please do that. If you say innovation, then I'll say there is no innovation without creativity, please add. And for creativity, we need to have some thinking, what we call is curiosity. So whether you want to add 3 boxes or 1 box, curiosity, creativity, and innovation, please do that. To be resilient, here are my couple of inputs for them. Once again, for Kenja, because I believe innovation is the word for them. They need to, they must encourage to think out of the box. And very easy to say, when we start implementing this will be once again a big activity needing time, money, effort, investment. They must also encourage to do different. Someone great speaker from India has said, great people don't do different things. They just do differently. I'll have a little disagreement also. And I'd like to say, we need to do different also. And especially this company that is saying innovation. Also need to create a culture of speaking up. Speaking up only is not enough. Almost all companies would say, we have an open door policy, Daman. And if you say so, I would like to see the policy. So, hand on your heart, go back and check whether your company has been saying this. And if, then next step, you have the policy. Once again, policy means written, reviewed, approved, published, used. Open door policy, what does it mean? That the CEO sits in a cabin where the door has been kept open? That perhaps only one third of the work, or not even one third of the work. Encourage people to speak up. So the one is encouraged and moves into the CEO's office. So what? CEO must have ears to listen to him. That is also a culture to be developed. That is also done. So what? So from one third, your alignment is increasing. The one has been encouraged, the one comes in, and the CEO is listening. An idea has been given by them. Then the next step, which is the most important, then to work upon that idea, explore it, and if it's found useful, then work on it and implement it. This is the full story. And the fourth point I'm saying for this company is create a culture of listening, as I just said in the example in the CEO's story, and be open to invest, even in exploring. And after exploring, an idea may be given up. But some investment would have gone in exploring itself. So time, money, and effort needs to be invested. This company needs to invest a lot more in R&D, perhaps, in this activity called creating this culture, curiosity, creativity, and innovation. They need to invest more than many other companies who wouldn't have said innovation to be the keyword for them. Understanding organizational resilience, and I'm saying these discussions before we go deep into that demonstration of the tool, we are attempting to understand organizational resilience. United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, in front of us. I'll just read these and you pay attention, attempt to do this exercise. Which one do you think is close to organizational resilience? No poverty in the world, zero hunger in the world, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation and infrastructure, reduced inequalities, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace, justice, and strong institutions. And the 17th one says partnerships for the goals. I'm just waiting for a few seconds to let you reflect upon these. Which one of these are close to organizational resilience. Is any one of these close to organizational resilience? We could spend hours on this diagram, just one slide, and we could write a very good essay on this topic. How does organizational resilience support United Nations SDGs? But even with first quick glance, many would appear to be doing that. When we take full time, write full essay, perhaps we'll say all 17. And then we will have to write our own interpretation also. But quickly, 3, 4, 5, 6 immediately appear to be very close. If you look at number 11, sustainable cities and communities. If you look at number 9, industry, innovation, and infrastructure, we just talked about innovation. Number 4, quality education. So no resilience possible without quality education. Number 12, responsible consumption and production. I personally would like to change the order. I would like to say responsible production and consumption. Those R's of environment will come into picture. Reduce, reuse, recycle, etc. I go up to 6 R's, and then there may be some debates around the order of those R's, but that's okay. Decent work and economic growth. Whatever we do, whether BCM or risk management or operational resilience or operational excellence and ultimately organizational resilience, if we are not making good money as company and as individuals, then it's of no use ultimately. So I could in 5 minutes quickly see 5, 6 close to organizational resilience, and that's why we must work on organizational resilience. If your company, your country has committed to live to or be compliant to United Nations SDGs, then the way is through organizational resilience, and this full journey once again from risk to organizational resilience. This portion has been picked up from Future of Jobs Survey 2020 by World Economic Forum. Long report. One portion of that says top 15 skills for 2025. In 2020, it was said. We see few. I'm just waiting, not reading all 15, but just waiting for you to reflect upon these. Have a quick look, please. Out of 15, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 9, and 13, which is 7, are supported or are in line with organizational resilience. So one is analytical thinking and innovation, organizational resilience. The standard is ISO 22316. It talks about innovation and culture more than any other management system known to me. Second skill is in this list, active learning and learning strategies. I'll give my definition of an organization which is resilient in a moment, which you will see is in line with number 2, active learning and learning strategies. 4 is critical thinking and analysis. 5 is creativity, originality, and initiative. Once again, that same story of curiosity, creativity, innovation coming into picture. Number 6 is leadership and social influence. Number 9, resilience, stress, etc. And number 13, service orientation. This is one portion, according to me, which is missing from that 20 block. Service orientation, customer care, I take this as. When I say customer care, I mean to say internal customers, the employees, as well as the external customers, the clients. If we do not take care of them, then we are not a resilient organization, according to me. So many examples. Again, I've spent hours delivering talk around that with examples, live examples. But quickly, one live example, without hesitation of naming the company, the Airtel, most likely still number one communications company, telecom company in the country. The phone does not work inside home. So I raise a complaint. And I've been raising this directly to the CEO with the CEO because this has been going on for 4 years. Ultimately, a complaint is lodged, and then a technician comes to my home, almost furious. Sir, I was calling you, didn't pick up. I was calling you for your complaint. That's what the complaint is, that it doesn't ring. Why would I not pick up? I did not pick up because it didn't ring. Here is my phone. And it's not on silent. It's with me. I'm on my laptop. That's what the problem is. That's what the complaint is. You shouldn't have been calling, by the way. You should have come looking at the complaint. So this is not even understood. Anything, everything, there's a complaint. Let's just call the person. Then he uses his meter. Oh, sir, there are no signals in your house. Go and tell your CEO. That's what we have been saying. And then after a day, 2, 3, you will get a message, your complaint has been resolved, or even if not that, it has been closed. This is not customer care, simple. You don't need it. So you cannot be a resilient organization. So the scope is huge repeatedly. If we are not taking care of the customers, then we are not a resilient company. Now I'll look at this tool quickly, a demonstration. And a confirmation that you can see it. Organizational Resilience Assessment Tool. You will see this is a simple one, Excel sheet. There are 4 tabs. I would like to go to the input tab first. If you look at the column A is domain, and these are all those 20 boxes. You could add, you would like to add. I'll be happy to add for you more boxes also. Asset management, business continuity management, crisis management, cybersecurity management, communications management, emergency management, environmental management, facilities management, financial control management, fraud control management, governance, the GRC portion, health and safety management, human resources or human capital management, information security management, ICT management, physical security management, quality management, risk management, and if you recollect, supply chain management and strategic planning management was the last in the box. But while creating the tool, I ended up adding few more: learning, continual improvement, embedding resilience domains, vendors resilience program. Vendors resilience program, oh, the month BCM takes care of that. That's good. All that I'm attempting to say is little more focus on that. Operational resilience demands a lot more focus on third-party risk management. So the moment we have TPRM in place, you may like to write that way. Customer care missing, I myself would like to add that here. So we have increased, while creating the tool, we have increased the number of boxes or focus areas. Then a look at column B, column E, and column D, B, D, and F. So this story is when I'm attempting to evaluate an organization revolves around these parameters: intent, your intent, my intent, implementation, and effectiveness. Nothing comes free in this world. organizational resilience is also not free. So I shouldn't do it just for the sake of doing it. There should be an objective reason behind it. I should be looking at its effectiveness. And then only I will be able to see the continual improvement, the PDCA cycle of continual improvement that needs to be used in for all domains, all management systems in all organizations. As an individual also, I'm an organization. So this PDCA cycle of continual improvement can be used in our personal lives also. We'll pick up an example with the help of basis of business continuity management. How do I show my intention, or how do I assess your intention about business continuity management? So I've written 5 questions, pointers, parameters. BCM program is not initiated yet. Ad hoc management of business continuity, which is little better. So you score 2, whether you are scoring doing it self-assessment or whether I am doing this for you as a consultant. Or next step is BC policy is available but too old or not approved. Or BCM framework exists. Or BCM framework is audited on a regular basis. Which is the best on my intent. What is coming out of the audit is not discussed here yet. Because as of now, we are focusing on intent only. So this is my score 5. Then intent is not enough. I need to take actions also. So implementation comes into picture. And once again, 5 questions, 5 parameters, 5 grades, scoring 1 to 5. A resource has been allocated to BCM program, you score 1. But if you say a competent resource has been deployed, you score 2. Because there is a difference between a resource and a competent resource. Appropriate BCM budget is available. 3, a full cycle implementation has been done according to any standard that you follow. Most prevalent or global is ISO 22301 for BCM. We know that. Or BCM program plan document is available, which shows your long-term commitment. Then you score 5 on implementation. Here in the example, I have given myself or I have given your company score 4 here because I couldn't see the BCM program plan. I couldn't see the long-term commitment. And then when you have been doing a lot, let's look at its effectiveness also. BCM effectiveness is not measured, get 1. One could have set them on 0 also. It's okay. I picked up this scale 1 to 5. 1 is the lowest one. Parameters for BCM effectiveness are appropriate. BCM effectiveness is measured and is input to management review. Not that we just do it, then we use it also. So it goes to management reviews. Then you score 3. Continual improvement of the BCM program is visible, scores 4. And if the BCMS has been third-party certified also, then you get 5. This is how the scoring will happen. Easy, simple, take your own time. Keep looking at what has been done, what is available, and evidence needs to be available. In self-assessment, we may have a tendency to go easy. A request would be to take it seriously because you are attempting to drop now the roadmap. This is how this tool helps to help the organization or organizations to draw up a roadmap, which may be next 3, 5, 10 years roadmap for the company. Based on this, then what comes out of this tool is a spider graph. We see other scores are low. I just entered some scores here to complete it, but the best scores appear to be for business continuity management as we have just entered. Couple of checks if you are scoring 4 on implementation, in this case here, on implementation, if you score 4, you cannot score 5 on effectiveness. Similarly, if your score on intent is 4, you cannot score 5. You cannot score 5 on implementation. If your score on implementation is 4, you cannot score 5 for effectiveness. This is how you will have to keep in mind so that you are reasonable and practicable. We know you can enter all 5, you are great. The tool will say you are great, excellent. To help you, the organization to draw up a map, this tree map is helpful. The same numbers have been entered here. We see the maximum scoring comes out for business continuity management, which has been shown as green also. Just the scale here, maximum score is 15, 5, 5, 5 on intent, implementation, and effectiveness. So maximum is 15. So if your score is greater than 9, then it's green. BCM is green. It doesn't mean that you can stop here. Green means forget it. Continue in the same way. If risk management comes to be green, please continue in the same way. And when I say continue in the same way, actually there is an element of improvement. You need to be doing better than that. So green doesn't go off your radar. It is not to be stopped. If your score is between 6 and 9, then you are shown amber, which means investment in improvement obviously exists here. If the score is 1 to 5, it is shown a red, which means this is immediate attention to be paid here. And this is how you can draw up your roadmap. The reds to be picked up first, ambers and green need to be continued anyway. If in this case we see there are too many reds, then you can apply another judgment. 10 programs to be started or 10 programs to be invested into. We don't have so many resources. So which 2, 3, 5 this year we would like to pick up? Those needs to be budgeted for, and then all the actions will start. How will you pick up? Out of 5 reds, which 3 reds, 2 reds, or even 1 red to be picked up will again depend upon your organization. You'll have to think, sit, then decide. One of the very important inputs for that decision making will be your context, which needs to be up to date. As such, very simple Excel-based tool, but helps us to draw the roadmap for us, for our organization, for next 3, 5, 10 years, and based on our maturity. This intent, implementation, and effectiveness is helping us to see the maturity of various programs in our organization. This is where I would like to stop today's discussions. The next session, next Saturday, 10 a.m. IST, is the last one in this series, is about navigating careers in risk and resilience. The topic is, the series is yin and yang of resilience. Before I hand it over back to Anand for closing remarks, I would like to say my definition of resilient organization, as I said. Risk managing and continually improving, learning, because without learning, improvement will not happen. So risk managing, learning, and continually improving organization is a resilient organization. In the past, we used to say people make companies. Today, I say resilient people make resilient companies. So that's the first point, starting point. Without any tool, without any assessment, we need to focus on people. Resilient people make resilient organizations, which will make resilient organizations communities, societies, and ultimately the resilient planet that we all look forward to. Organizational resilience is a journey of transformation. Once started, it will never be over. A statement that I said earlier, repeating, no one most likely is at zero today, but no one will ever be 100% either. Thank you very much. Back to Anand for closing remarks, Anand.
Thank you so much, Daman. It's been an excellent session. I think this needs to be separately recorded, as in separately carved out and also presented in multiple forums. End to end, I think anybody will benefit from this. I strongly suggest that we carve this out from not just out of the yin and yang, but put it in all the other platforms that it is possible.
Okay.
Before I kind of conclude, I have one or two questions that I'd like to ask on behalf of also viewers who are going to see this
Oh,
later. One is on the tool, right? Just one question which I think will help is there is always a hard side to the implementation and there is a soft side to the implementation,
right.
right? The soft side, you can call it as the enabling side, or you can call it as the qualitative aspects, right? Which are not necessarily visible in some of those statements of assertions that we have to make or check. So, what could be the top two or three qualitative considerations you think that might also be worth keeping in mind when someone is using the module? So, suppose like you had suggested, for example, that if I have a low rating on an earlier level, I logically cannot get a higher rating on next level, right? But we always see, especially in the Indian context, a lot of the people or companies are what we call as jugadu companies, right? So while they may not have systems and processes in place, but they may be excellent in managing crisis and resilience. That's like in the Indian DNA, for example,
Right.
right? So that's obviously a slightly a deviation from what my intent was, but my intent is what could be those two or three qualitative considerations that may increase or decrease the understanding of the score, right? Or at least the perception of the score. Is there anything that you think from your experience?
Very good. Very good, Anand. There is a quality principle that not only the end product, but the process also has to be good. Well, I may claim, look at the product. This is a pen, and see, this is excellent quality. But you would say that's right, Daman. But let's look into the process also. Let's look at the ingredients also. What ingredients have been used today? We would talk about recyclability of the ingredients also. Today we would talk about, if I say, assume the tip is of silver or platinum, how precious that resource is, how scarce that resource is, that needs to be looked into, not only the end product. So similarly, I understand what you're saying is we will have that tendency that I'm saying, look at all five examples, we have managed the crisis very well. That's good. But the whole process is saying it has to be a structured approach also. There have been discussions around this, especially these two, three domains, which are easily understood by us, including you and me also. Risk, crisis, disaster, business continuity, information cycles, cyber security, ITDR, etc. That the one, ultimately, on that day, I don't need the plan. I use it from here. That's okay, but as a process, we will not accept that to be a very well statement. There is no plan, no structured journey, but ultimately we came out. Then it's not a planned way. It was a chance, I will say, even if 5 out of 5 times we came out very well. So there is a possibility of defining these definitions for each organization to start with. Before we start the
Right.
assessment, we can say there is a customizability. We can change the definitions. But the tool currently based on these three elements, that my intention, the implementation, and the effectiveness all needs to be seen.
True. So this is anyway observable. So I think to that extent, this is absolute. One last question before I, kind of. So in the beginning, you said that this is typically a 3 to 5 year journey. If someone were to do systematic,
Right.
even though you may have bits and pieces of this already, but if you want to do it uh, completely, right, and experience each element of the journey coming, right, it's easily a 5 year journey. Now, typically in the current phase, 5 years is too long, right, because there ultimately has to be a person who is helping drive this on behalf of a company, right? So how can, let us say, that person uh, keep the momentum up? Because there are always going to be multiple priorities. We are
Yes.
seeing it in the implementations we ourselves are doing it.
Yeah.
And secondly, how does the company make it person independent? If that is a suggested tip, right? Any thoughts around this?
Yeah. It's an old long story, Anand. I've written a chapter in my book also around this. For any program in any company, anywhere in the world, the most critical success factor is commitment of the top management. And this has been said for years, decades. I have started making a little change in this. I say, if you are my top management, I do not need your commitment for my program. I need your continued commitment to the program. If you are not, you means top management is not committed for a long term, then this person who is working on this, whether this is BC manager, risk manager, crisis manager, organizational resilience manager, he or she will also have a tendency to lose focus. We know people move. We know people move internally. We know people move externally, go out also. People will retire also from the job. So this will continue to be a challenge. But to resolve, first point is to have that continual commitment of the top management. For all management systems, again, but specifically ISO 22301 for business continuity management says aligning the policy, the procedures, the plans, etc., strategy with the organization's objectives. It has been said, it is easy to say, difficult to achieve. Simple tip there is to align it with the business strategy. I will say, if my business strategy is 3 year strategy, my organizational resilience also should be 3 year strategy. But if I have 5 or 10 year strategy, then I have the liberty to make even organizational resilience to be little longer, 5, 10 years. Even if we say it's 3 years strategy, the one that we follow for business, then we see there are 20 elements, 20 plus elements. It will be difficult. We need to keep that in mind. And for that reason, either using this tool or any other way, do one assessment and then select on what do you want to focus in these 3 years. Perhaps you want to focus only on one of these boxes or two boxes in the this current 3 years business strategy period. This is how I would like to say we will have to move. This is what my recommendation will be.
Fair,
Otherwise, it's
fair,
a long journey.
fair,
It's a long journey.
fair, fair. Thank you, thank you. Like I said, I think this is a gold mine, Daman. We should definitely have this video seen by as many people as possible. With that, I just want to, thank Daman for today. Excellent session, excellent orator, and excellent coach. So we would love to, find ways to expand the series in different pieces. So please let us know how you would like to do this, the Yin and Yang series. But for now, we will call this a day, and we would urge all of the people who've seen the videos so far to consider joining our next session, which is going to be a primarily an open house session with some broad pointers on how careers could be created, navigated, managed, enhanced, enlarged, improved, whatever qualitative aspects that you'd like to use on both risk and resilience. And we will be available for anyone who has any answers, whether it's at the beginners level, at the intermediate level, or at an expert level. Very, very happy to be available. And thank you once again to all the viewers for today's session. Back to you, Daman, if there's any other closing.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Anand, a repetition. The next session, which is the last in this series is around careers. Everyone, all of us will have this question in mind. The moment anyone is talking to me about any skill, we have been talking on and I we have been talking about risk and resilience. So what? Daman, does it pay? Will it pay? Will I get job? Will I get an increment? Will I get promotion? To be able to attempt these questions, such questions, we have arranged the last in the series to be around that. There is not going to be yes, no answer for anyone. There cannot be. People have asked me this question about my courses also, about BCM also, about risk, crisis, etc. Whatever I do. But even if you think our graduation, post-graduation, doctorate, does it result in the employment immediately, directly, or the promotion or the increment immediately, directly? May not. But does it support? For sure, definitely. That's what the answer is. These are not the qualifications. These are professional additions. Your CV, your profile is becoming heavier. But if you have any doubts, please come forward. We'll be happy to answer. Again, based on the best capability that we do have, we are sure that this will be very helpful session. So with this, logging off, yin and yang of risk and resilience. We would like to see you next Saturday, 10 a.m. IST. Till that, take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.